वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। ओम सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। नमो गुरुभ्यो नमः।
धन्यवादः महोदय।
धन्यवादः।
अस्तु, any doubt about last class or about the homework?
गृह कार्य संधि विच्छेदन आत्मा आत्मा नात्मा आत्मन प्लस आत्मा और how we have to विच्छेद कथं करणीयं विच्छेदं
पदं किमस्ति?
हाँ,
what is the word?
आत्मा नात्मा.
Am I audible? Is it
yeah, audible.
So atma plus anatma.
Oh,
so it is not atman. We haven't studied nakaranta. Atma, anatma.
okay.
Any other doubts about that?
Dhanyawad.
Mahoday, I have a question. This when we studied Sandhi Nityatvam, then the third condition was Samasi Nityatvam Bhavati. This condition I was not able to, I am not confident.
So yeah, that is because we haven't studied Sandhi so far, but most of the, no, I shouldn't say most, many of the words that we screen share karomi. दृश्यते वा?
आं महोदय।
अत्र पश्यतु, देवालयः अस्ति। देवालयः इस् देव प्लस् आलयः. So what is deva? What is the what type of word is it? Vivaranam kim devapadasya. Just the word deva.
Deva pullinga, parantu it's a pratipadikam.
It's a pratipadikam. So it is not a word. If it's a proper word, if it's a subanta, it would have been devaha, devaha, devasya, whatever. It is just deva. So deva plus alayaha is equal to devalayaha. This is an example of a samasa. So what it is saying is, in a samasa, when there is a scope for doing sandhi, you must do sandhi. So here, deva by itself is not a full word. It is just a pratipadikam. And we know that pratipadikam cannot be used just by itself. So normally, if you were going to use the word deva in prathama vibhakti ekvachanam, we would have said devaha. right? Or some other vibhakti. So let's say prathama ekavachanam. We would have said devaha, but we are not using the word devaha. We are using the word deva. That is because the two words, two padas, deva and alaya, they come together to form devalaya, and it takes the prathama vibhakti ekavachanam because of samasanu. So let us not worry about why it is taking prathama vibhakti ekavachanam, but actual samasa happens between deva and alaya. No, there is no visarga when the samasa happens. So after the samasa, after the two words are combined, the visarga is added back because it is in prathama vibhakti ekvachanam. Why it is prathama vibhakti ekvachanam? Let's not worry about it. So the point here is we are combining two different pratipadikas, and as part of combining that, we see that this vakara becomes v plus a, and this alaya in this the first letter is a, and these two there is a scope for doing a something. So just because they two letters, two aksharas or two swaras, they are close by. Samhita asti, it's not necessary that it will form a sandhi. Remember the examples where we saw sandhi is not possible, but here sandhi is possible. So whenever sandhi is possible in a samasa, you have to compulsorily do a sandhi. And in this case, a and a, because they are savarna, we have to apply the ekadesha and replace both by the dirgha. So it will become devalaya, devalaya. So this is what a samasa looks like, and that is what the third condition is there. In a samasa, you have to do a sandhi whenever there is a scope for doing sandhi.
If there is a scope, then we have to look for the we have to see that the sandhi is happening or not. Then by scrutinizing the word, then we can come to know that sandhi is happening or not happening. It is not necessary that sandhi will happen wherever the samas is, samasa pada is.
Correct. And we saw one example where gruham asti, gruham ends in makara, and asti, we didn't say makara plus akara, it's a sandhi. We never said that. We said that is an example of not a sandhi. Remember, just because the two aksharas are close by each other, and even when you are pronouncing, you say gruham asti, there is no sandhi. Why there is no sandhi?
Griham asti. It's a complete word here.
Complete word, Eva. What does sandhi mean? What needs to happen for a sandhi to take place? What happens when a sandhi takes place?
There must be varna vikara.
Varna vikara. So gruham makara plus akara is ma. There is no varna vikara. So just because there is a samikhyam or samhita, sandhi does not happen. Even within a samasa. So in a samasa, you have to look whether sandhi is possible, and if it is possible, then you have to compulsorily do a sandhi. So most of the, I shouldn't say most, but many of the examples we look at are samasas only. So maha plus agnihi, mahagnihi. Maha by itself is just a pratipadika. It's not a word by itself. You can't use maha by itself. So again, maha and agni, two pratipadikams combined to form mahagni, and then we make it prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. So mahagnihi. Parantu atra akara plus akara, the ekadesha applies. So it will become akara. And here, because sandhi is possible, you have to do it. So that is what the third is. Same here, kavi plus indraha. Kavi by itself is a pratipadikam. Mahi by itself is a pratipadikam. So in a samasa, the way we do a samasa is combine two pratipadika and then apply an appropriate vibhakti, whatever it might be. It can be in any of the 7 vibhakti. But the combination of the way samasa is formed is combination of pratipadika, not fully formed word. So it is not devaha plus alayaha, it is deva plus alaya, 2 pratipadika. So is the third condition, third rule clear?
Yeah, this is completely clear, Mahoday. Dhanyavada. Got
So
it.
what are the Viraj Mahoday? What is
Now, at this stage, is there a way to find out is it a pratipadika form or not? In the sense, is it samasa or is a namapada karta form or not? Because this just now we studied that thing, right? What is that? Harishwara or something? Kavishwara.
Kavishwara.
Yeah. So
So
in
when
the Dvitiya Vachana, we have Kavi form, right? In that Ikaranta Pullinga. So how to know whether it is Kavi Pratipadika is used or Kavi Dvitiya Ekavachana, Pratama Vibhakti Dvitiya Vachana is used?
Kavihi Kavi Kavayaha. Oh, I see. Why is it not Kavi plus Ishaha, Kavishaha? Is that the question? It comes with that. You can't always say that.
So in this stage, is there a way to easily find out whether it's a samasa or not?
So usually, okay. So there is an easy way. So so Pratipadika for Kavi cannot be Kavi, right? It is Kavi, Ika Haraswam. It is not Dirgha. Dirgha happens to be Dvivachana form. So when you are in doubt, look. If you do Kavi plus Ishaha, is Kavi a word? It is not a word. It is not even a Pratipadika. So it cannot be the Dirgha form. It has to be the Hrasva form. So then think about it. Is a Kavi with the Hrasva form, is it a Pratipadika? Yes. So then it is most likely a Samasa. Does that help, Mahodaya?
Sure.
So what are the other conditions for the Sandhi that we learned? We learned 3 cases where it has to be compulsorily applied and 1 case where it's optional. So what are the 2 other conditions where it is compulsory? Anybody remember the shloka I asked you?
Dhatu plus Kriyapadam.
Dhatu plus?
Kriyapadam.
Dhatu plus Upasarga.
Upasarga.
Kriya.
Can I say more?
Vadati Meera Mahoday.
Sanhita ekapade nitya. Nitya dhatu upasarga madhye. Nitya samase vakye tu sa vivakshanam apekshita. Apekshate. Means vivaksham apekshate.
Vivekshanam na vivaksham
apekshate.
So arthaha kaha, what is the meaning?
Ekapadasya madhye धातु प्रातिपदिकं प्रत्यय मध्ये इत्यर्थः संधि नित्यं धातु उपसर्ग मध्ये अपि संधि नित्यं भवति समासे मध्येपि धातु पूर्वपद उत्तरपदस्य मध्ये अपि समासे संधिः भवितुं शक्यते भवति नित्यं भवति विभक्ति यतः विभक्ति अस्ति द्वयोः पदयोः मध्ये विकल्पः भवति
You mean in a vakya, not vibhakti.
In a vakye.
Okay. So
वाक्ये द्वयोः पदयोः मध्ये विभक्ति अपि कर्तुं शक्यते अस्ति चेत् विभक्ति अपि you can do it. नो चेत् पदः विकल्पेन सन्धिः भवति. It is like optional. नित्यं न.
So I didn't understand the vibhakti part, but let's take it one by one. So the first
Like lopa, we have this visarga lopa and all, no?
Let's go one by one. By one. So
Okay.
the first one is samhita ekapade nitya. So what is an example of that?
Samhita ekapade nitya ityukte, if it is like, for example, what is the, we have this prakriti, any dhatu, like any lakaras, if you say take like gachati or pathati, all that with a dhatu like pat plus there is a pratyaya, and there the sandhi is nityam. It has to happen. You don't have an option.
Path ati pathati, because it's one word, pathati, you have to do the sandhi. Or any vibhakti form also.
Any subanta also, no?
Any subanta form. Ramena,
okay.
There some sandhi happens. We don't know what. If you look at Panini Sutras, we know. But normally, any subanta form, there is lots of sandhis that will happen. So we cannot say Rama plus Ena. So I will use it optionally. You can't say Rama Ena. You have to make it a sandhi. Ramena. I'm saying Rama plus Ena, but even I don't know the exact sandhi. I'm just using it colloquially. It may not be Rama plus Ena. And like you said, within a lakara form, patha, ati, pathati. We didn't study any of these according to the sutras, but these are all one word where you cannot optionally use the sandhi. So pathati is composed of pat plus a plus t. So pat is the dhatu there. There you apply two different pratyaya. So pathati, you have to compulsorily do the then the second one is
upasarga dhatu.
Anybody wants to give an example of dhatu plus upasarga where sandhi happens?
Mहोदय prakshalayati shala dhatu pra upsarga.
Sandhi ka kutra asti tatra pra plus shal.
Shalayati.
Pra plus it has to be between the upasarga and the dhatu.
No, Mहोदय, it's not the right example.
Anu plus gacchati, anva gacchati.
Let's take one example which we have already done, either Savarna Divya Sandhi.
Udgachati.
Gacchati, agachati.
Ut plus gachati, udgachati.
Astu, ut plus gachati. Okay, we didn't do it, but okay. Ut plus gachati, udgachati. Astu. So dhatu plus upasarga, you have to compulsorily do a sandhi. Third one is samasa. We just talked about it. And optionally, when it is in a vakya, you can optionally do it or not. So one example we saw was Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva. That is how we normally pronounce it. People who are more experienced will say Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva. They use Nirvignam and Kuru together. And so Anunatika Sandhi happens. So Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva. So it becomes like a nasal sound. So the Sandhi has, they experienced people will say Nirvignam Kuru. Ordinary people like us will say Nirvignam Kuru. So it is optional. So that is the rule. First. Any other doubts before we proceed to today's topic?
What is the sloga which you are talking about, that Sandhi rule? Not get it.
So Darshayami. It's on in slide 18. It's on 4, slide number 4. In last class, it was on slide 4. संहितैकपदे नित्या नित्या धातुपसर्गयोः नित्या समासे वाक्येषु सा विवक्षाम् अपेक्षते. अस्तु. So we saw Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. What is Savarna Dirgha Sandhi? Quickly, anybody?
Not there, not I just downloaded. I don't know.
It's on slide 4, Mahodaya. Slide 4 is slide deck 18, last class.
It is 17. Okay.
No, 18, 1-8, last class.
1-8, it is not there.
Okay.
Okay. I will check. No
Is,
problem.
is there?
It is there, Mahodaya, it is there.
It is there.
Okay.
If you still don't see it, let me know after the class.
Okay, no problem. So no problem. Maybe I am saying 70. Sorry.
Astu. Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. What is Savarna Dirgha Sandhi? Before
It's a Swara Sandhi.
before that, what are the types of sandhi that can happen? I'm not talking about Swara Sandhi, Visarga Sandhi. I'm not talking about that. Sandhi Kriya, the act of sandhi. There are 3 or 4 different types of sandhi Kriya that we learn. What are they?
Adesha.
Viraj now they started, so let him finish. I want to give chance to everyone.
Adeshah Mitratvam Shatrutvam, where I think either one of them can go away or something replacement will happen.
Only one can go away?
One goes away, then Lopa, I think.
No, not like that. One or both get replaced. The two swaras, the two varnas that are in the taking part in the sandhi, both of them get replaced, or one of them can get replaced. The first one, Purva Varna, first Varna that is taking part in the sandhi is called Purva Varna. The second Varna that is taking part in the sandhi is called Paravarna. So either the Purva Varna can get replaced, or the Paravarna can be replaced, or both can be replaced. And then
Agama.
So 1 second. If both are replaced, what is it called?
That is what we studied, Savarna.
Parantu a technical term.
Eka Adesha.
Eka Adesha. It's a special type of Adesha where both get replaced. It's called Eka Adesha. Anantaram?
Agama happens when there is a extra aksharam or the extra
Aksharam Varnam
comes.
Udaharanam. Gachan plus asti.
Yeah, I think Ya and Va and all we studied them.
Gachan plus asti, gachan asti. There is an extra nakara. Astu. What is the third type of sandhi karya?
Lopa happens when Para or Purva, one of the akshara is goes away in the sandhi.
Udaharana. Saha eshaha, sa eshaha. There the visarga gets dropped. And then what else did we study?
These are the 3 I thought we studied.
Adesha, Agama, Lopa. Anything else? Those are the 3. So Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. What is Savarna Dirgha Sandhi? Harsha Mahoday.
Savarna Dirgha Sandhi means a or a plus or a. Purvavarna, Paravarna. A is same. It's a Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. Like E, Haswai, Dirghai. It will take place in the Dirghai. It will take place as a Dirgha A. U, Haswau, Dirghau. Whatever is there, Purvavarna or Paravarna, it will take place Dirgha U Varna. And Ru, Ru, Lu. That also take a place as a Dirgha Ru.
Okay. So it can be both the varnas that take part in the sandhi can be hraswa also, a plus a also. So savarna is both the varnas that take part in the sandhi, they are the same varna, e, etc. So now let us go to the second type of parasandhi, which is called guna sandhi. So we finished Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, the easiest of all sandhis. Let us now look at Guna Sandhi. This is also quite easy. So what it says is, who's next on the screen? Kanchan Mahoday, Krupaya Pathatu.
महोदय आ इत्येताभ्याम् इति प्लस एताभ्यां वर्णाभ्यां यदा इ उ ऋ ल इत्येते इति प्लस एते वर्णाः परे भवन्ति तदा तयोः पूर्वपरयोः स्थाने क्रमेण ए ओ अल् इत्येते एकादेशः भवन्ति.
So this is a very long way of saying. Has anybody understood what it means?
I think it's if there is then it will become A.
So
if it is right.
So it is saying that then there is etabhyam. Etabhyam means
Purvavarna is A or A.
No, I'm just asking the meaning of etabhyam. I'm trying to make you all read sentences like this and understand it. That's all. So etabhyam means Dhyam. When does Dhyam come? Which vibhakti?
Two letters. Two.
द्विवचने
The Saptami Vibhakti.
द्विवचने
द्विवचने महोदय
Dvivachana, but which vibhakti?
तृतीया ते पंचमी पर्यंत.
Tritiya, Chaturthiya, Panchami. So with these two letters or for these two letters or from these two letters. It can mean one of those. Varnabhyam. Yada, if, I, U, R, ityete, ete is sahasauте, these. Prathama vibhakti bahuvachana. Ete varnaha pare bhavanti. Pare means after. Saptami vibhakti. Para means after. Pare is Saptami vibhakti. Bhavanti. So, for these and if, when, rather, when, I, U, R, these varnas are coming later, then, tada, then, tayoho is of those two, Shashti vibhakti or Saptami vibhakti, Dvivachana. Tayoho. What is tayoho mean?
Shashti vibhakti.
Those two, or for those two, right? What are those two? It is being clarified here. Purva Parayoho means Purva Varnasya Paravarnasya. So Purva and Paravarna, of those two Varnas, Thane, in place of that, Kramena, in order, A, O, or Al. These four Varnas, Ete again, Ete Varnaha, Ekadeshaha Bhavanti. So what it is saying is, whenever A and A are followed by I, U, R, R, then in place of both, these four letters replace them in a respectively, means A plus E will be replaced by A plus U, they will be replaced by O, A plus R will be replaced by R, and A plus R will be replaced by Al. So that is what it is. So let us look at, so it's the same thing, same information in a table. So A plus E, then both get replaced by A. So here it says Ekadeshaha. So both get replaced. Same way, A plus U, both of them get replaced by O. A plus R, both get replaced by R. And A plus R, both get replaced by Al. Let us look at an example or a few examples. It will be clear. And then if you still have doubts, let's talk about it. So the first one is A plus E will both of them get replaced by A. So one example, Deva plus Indraha. So again, this is an example of a samasa. So here, if there is a possibility of a sandhi, we learned that sandhi must be done. So how do we split Deva? Let us, without looking at the answer, let us try to solve this ourselves. Deva plus Indra. So how do we padachedam katham bhavati?
दकारः अकारः वकारः अकारः ईकारः नकारः रेफः न दकारः रेफः विसर्गः.
So here we can keep this as the same because they are not taking part in the sandhi. We only have to look at the last word of the first word and the first word of the second word. So only these two we have to look to see if they can be, take part in the sandhi. So A plus E, what did we say? A plus E, A. So A plus E, A. So let us keep this as plus A plus, so both need to be replaced by A. So those two don't remain anymore. So the A, they, over, Endraha. So what will this become?
देवेन्द्रः.
Devendraha. So A plus E get replaced by A. So Devendraha is come. Let us try similarly Maha plus Ishvaraha. So the Antima Varna of this is Akara. And what is the Prathama Varna of this?
ईकारः.
Ikara. So A plus E is
A.
still A only. It is not I, it is still A. So whether this is Hrasva or Dirgha and whether this is Hrasva or Dirgha, any combination, it is always replaced by A. So in A plus E, A. So Maha A Ishwaraha. So A plus E A. So what will this become?
Maheshwara.
Maheshwara.
Maheshwara. So Maha A E. So A and E are replaced by A. The rest of the word remains as it is. So if you combine everything back, it will become Maheshwara. Let's look at the second one. So please remember, in a Guna Sandhi, the Purva Varna is only A or A. Whereas in Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, it could be A, I, I, U, R, or R. Whereas in Guna Sandhi, the Purva Varna is only A or A. Whereas Paravarna can be I, U, R, or R. So Purva Varna remains A or A. Now let us take the case where Paravarna is U or U. So because it's an Ekadesha, both get replaced by O. Surya plus Udayaha. Ramu Mahodaya, do you want to try this?
Suryodaya?
Suryodayaha. So how? So what is the Antima Varna of this? Hraswa.
Hraswa. U.
So A plus U becomes O.
O.
Sur, O.
Suryodayaha.
Surya, Udayaha. So Surya remains as it is, Dayaha remains as it is. The only two things that are taking part in the Sandhi are A and U. Both get replaced by O. So Suryodayaha. If you combine this whole thing back, it will be Suryodayaha. Uttama. Rajashri Mahodaya, do you want to try this? Maha Urmiki.
Mahormihi.
Katham, how?
Purvavarna Akaraha asti. Paravarna is Ukaraha. A plus U is O. So Mahormihi.
Maha, A, and then U, Mihi. This Maha and Mihi, they don't take part in the Sandhi, only these two. So Maha, A plus U becomes O, Maha, O, Mihi. If you combine everything back, Mahor Mihi. What is Urmihi?
Dress or something.
Punaha vadatu?
Is it a garment or dress or something?
No. Maybe it is, maybe there is such a meaning. But the more common meaning is like a wave or a current wave in the ocean, Mahor, or a wave of pain. So whatever wave normally you associate with, whether it's an ocean wave or a river wave or a wave of pain or sadness, whatever. So Urmihi or Mahormihi is generally used in the context of saying somebody is experiencing great pain. They say Mahormihi.
Okay.
So wave of pain. And Maha, great wave of pain. Like that.
Okay. Dhanyawad.
Again, third one is A plus R. Here, in the previous cases, A or O were the replacement Ekadesha. Here it is slightly different. It is Ar. So let us look at an example. Puja plus Rishiki. Let us do it ourselves. It will be a good practice. Puja plus Rishiki. Rohini Mahoday, can you please break this?
Puja plus Rishi. Purva Varnam Makaraha and Paravarnam Rukaraha. So they both combine to form Ar. So it will be Pujarshi. Is it?
So Puj remains as it is. Chihi remains as it is. Only these two take part in the sandhi, and because of ekadesha, they get replaced by ar. What will this become?
Pujarshi.
Pujar
Shivi.
Shihi. Uttama. What is the meaning? Puja Rishihi.
Rishi who deserves puja.
Rishi who deserves puja. Satya. Satya. So Puja Rishihi. Vijay Menon Mahodaya अस्ति वा?
आं महोदय।
प्रयत्नं करोति वा?
ओके। आ पूर्व आ
पूर्ववर्णः परवर्णः
परवर्ण ऋ। So R.
Let's do it. Maha plus Ri, Shi, so Mah
plus A plus R plus Shihi. So A plus Ra becomes R.
No, R
only. Okay, sorry.
तत्र पश्यतु. So A, O, R and R. That's for Dirgha is R.
Okay. R plus Shihi. So Maharshihi.
Maharshi. You all know the meaning of Maharshi. Some great Rishi. And the last type is A plus A and A or A plus R will become Al. So Tava plus Rkaraha. Kalpana Mahoday.
Tava पूर्ववर्ण अ अस्ति and paravarna r.
So A plus R will become Al. So
Tava
Al
Karaha. Tavalkaraha.
So it's always a good practice to do the padacheda rather than just saying it, because this is, we don't expect tava plus rkaraha will say taval rakaraha, something like that. So but it's actually tavalkaraha. So it's better if we do the padacheda.
What is Lukara?
So what is makara means, for example, or nakara?
It is the short one, that in like that kind of thing.
The sound makara means the sound ma, nakara means the sound na. So tava plus the sound l will become tavalkara. That is what it is. Why we have to add the l sound to tava, I don't know. I think there are very, very few words that involve the. It may be a made up example for all we know. Even in Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, we saw a couple of similar things, right? Rkaraha, something plus rkaraha. That's how we did it. You remember that? Even in Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, hetru plus rkaraha, hetrukaraha. So why we are adding a rkara to hetru? I think it is just to give an example of how Savarna Dirgha Sandhi happens. Over the course of hundreds of years, I think we lost words that have r in them, and that is why my suspicion is it's a made up example.
अस्तु महोदय।
भवती एव करोतु अन्तिमं।
महा प्लस लकारः पूर्ववर्णस्य आकार अस्ति। ओके। परवर्णस्य लकारः अस्ति। अतः it is al, it becomes al. So that a will become rasva. So maglakarah. Maglakarah. I don't know to.
So hakara plus
yeah, maha will become maha.
Maha.
Lakarah.
Alkarah. Mahalkarah. Please note, maha, here it is akara, dirgha. So even though we are combining dirgha a plus r, the ekadesha is still al only, not all. It is al hrasva. So it is mahalkarah. Again, why we are adding nirkara? I think it's a made up example. So this example is saying when you add the word maha plus nirkara, what is the result? It is mahalkara. I don't think it has a meaning by itself. I couldn't find it in any kosha. Astu, is this clear? Any doubt?
Bhanu Mahodaya, eka prashna asti. So if it is the Raja Shihi, then would it be Raja plus Rishihi?
Raja plus Rishihi. Let us do it. So Raj plus A plus R plus Shihi. Atra kim bhavati? A plus R. So Raj plus R plus Shihi. Kim bhavati anantaram?
Rajar Shihi.
Rajar Shihi. So
Mahodaya, so here Raja, it is not the Pratipadikam, right?
Raja is not a Pratipadikam, but we don't know how these two forms got combined. So when words are being derived in Sanskritam, lots of sutras apply and lots of sandhis happen. So just because we see a particular form doesn't mean that that is the form we started with. It could be a result of several other things happening that resulted in Raja plus Rishi. So that's how we decided. So the previous examples of samasa that I gave are simple examples.
Dhanyavadam.
Actually, so having said all that, here also it is Pratipadikam only. So Raja, there the Pratipadikam is Rajan, Nakara. So in Samasa, there is a rule that says whenever the Purva Pada ends in a Nakara, as part of the Samasa, the Nakara gets dropped. So we won't do a Samasa with Rajan and Rishiki. The Nakara gets dropped. So Raja plus Rishiki only take part in the Samasa. And therefore it is Raja. Spashtam, any questions about what we have seen so far? Abhyasam kurmah. Rita Mahoday.
न इक्षति पूर्ववर्णः अकारः परवर्णः इकारः then akarah and ikarah When they join, they become A. Nekshati.
Nekshati. Na ichhati, nekshati. Uttama. Gayatri Mahoday.
Ganga plus Udakam. Ganga Purvavarna Akaraha. Paravarna Ukaraha. अथवा ओकारः गंगोदकम्
गंगोदकम् अर्थः कः
उदकम्
what is udakam anybody
Jalam.
Jala.
Ganga Jalam.
Water of Ganga. Ganga's water.
गंगायाः जलम सुंदरी महोदय
Grama plus Rishabha. Pur Rishabha. Purvavarna Aka sorry Akara and Paravarna Rukara. So Akara and Rukara is Ar. So grammar grammar plus Rishabha.
So R plus R becomes
R.
And
plus
then
grammar Shabha. Grammar Shabha.
Grammar Shabha. It's a little hard to say. Grammar Shabha.
Grammar Shabha.
Rishabha is taking.
Shabha is.
Anybody?
It's a
Bull.
Bull.
Nandi.
Bull. So grammar Shabha is
Grame Rishabha Iva.
Grame va gramasya va.
Gramasya Rishabha.
Gramasya Rishabha Iva.
Okay, I also don't know. It was a genuine question. Is it gramasya Rishabha or grame Rishabha? I think both. It depends on the context. We both could be possible. So we say, right, so and so is like a cat outside. He's like a lion in the house, and he's like a cat outside. So is it like that? Is there in the village it's like a bull, but somewhere it is something else, or does it mean of the village?
Only.
Huh?
It should be Grammar Shabha only. The village bull.
Village bull. Okay.
And villages that bull is let out.
Okay. That makes more sense. It's a village bull. A bull is let out. Okay. Now it makes sense. Okay. Dhanyawad. Harsha Mahoday.
Gana plus Ishaha. Gana. So Akaraha, Purvavarna Akaraha, Paravarna Ikaraha. So Ikaraha Bhavati. So Ganeshaha.
Arthaha kaha?
Ganapati. Ish of Ganaha.
What is Ganaha?
Gana means Samuha.
Who's Samuha? Who's Samuha is Isha?
Yeah, Samuha of Ish. He is the leader of the Gana. Ish means.
Which Gana? Whose Ganas are we talking about?
Who's Gana?
Anybody? No?
Shivasya Gananam.
शिवस्य गणाः तस्य नाम अपि अस्ति शिवस्य गणस्य नाम अपि अस्ति किम् अस्ति जानाति वा
शिवस्य भूतगणः
प्रमथगण
प्रमथगण
not bhutagana pramatha second one pramatha gana so is the isha of that. Is the isha of all Shiva's gana. So if you read any Purana, you'll see that whenever Shiva gets angry, his Pramatha Ganas go and do the war. And then if they get defeated, then Shiva. So, okay. Next, Viraj Mahoday.
अस्तु महोदय राजा प्लस इति आकार पूर्ववर्णः परवर्णः इ देन एकादेशः गुणसन्धिः भवति राजेति
अर्थः कः
iti is like a quote raja iti
so this is probably taken sentence fragment. So in some sentence, in some vakya, there was raja iti.
अस्तु महोदय
दशरथः उत्तम राजा इति वसिष्ठः उक्तवान् for example. So there raja iti दशरथः उत्तम राजेति वसिष्ठः उक्तवान्. Like मीरा महोदय.
सर्वस्य उपरि पूर्वपद अकारः पूर्वपदस्य अन्तिमवर्णः अकारः.
पूर्वपदं वा sandhi between which two entities sandhi happens?
Purvavarna.
Not pada. Pada. The combination joining of padas is called samasa. Joining of aksharas or varnas is sandhi. That is a very, very important distinction.
Purvavarnah akarah, paravarnah ukarah. Sarvasya akarah ukara okara sarvopari. सर्वस्योपरि सर्वस्योपरि
सर्वस्योपरि
सर्वस्य उपरि इति the top of everything on the top of everything.
On top of everything. Uttama. Ramu Mahodaya.
Paraha plus upakaraha.
Paraha nasti. Para
plus sorry. Para plus upakaraha. Purvapada akaraha. Paraparaha. Ukaraha.
Paravarnaha.
Sorry. Paravarnaha ukaraha. Ukaraha भवति परोपकारः.
परोपकारः. अर्थः कः?
Helping others.
Helper of others. परोपकारः. कंचन महोदय.
परोपकार पुण्याय पावाय परपीडनम्.
सत्यम्. एकं सुभाषितमस्ति. उत्तमं. सत्यम्.
महोदय शीत उष्णं पूर्ववर्ण अकारः परवर्णः उकारः आदेशः ओकारः भवति पद भवति शीतोष्ण अर्थः I think
what is Shita?
Shita means cold.
Ushna?
Ushna is hot.
Shitoshnam is cold and hot. So it's just one of those pairs we talk about, right? Sukha dukkam. So what does it mean by itself? No, it's just a pairing of different things, opposite qualities that we talk. Dinaratri, Sukha dukkam, Shitoshnam, like that.
अस्तु महोदय.
Rajasri Mahoday.
नागा इन्द्रः पूर्ववर्णम् आकारः परवर्णम् इकारः.
Ekakshanam. What is Purva Varnaha?
ओ अकारः नाग अकारः परवर्णम् इकारः. द्वयोः मेलनेन एकारः आदेशः नागेन्द्र.
उत्तमम् उत्तमम्. अर्थः कः?
The leader of the snakes.
Leader of Naga. उत्तमम्. Rohini Mahoday.
महा प्लस उत्सवः पूर्ववर्णम् आकारः परवर्णम् उकारः. So it becomes ओकारः. महोत्सवः.
महोत्सवः अर्थः?
Great festival.
Great festival. उत्तमम्. Now let us do the Sandhi Vichedam. Vijaymenon Mahoday.
Amo. Okay. Uttamottamam. Uttama. Uttama plus Uttamam.
So Purvavarna, Paravarna.
Paravarna Uttama will be and sorry, Paravarna will be U and Purvavarna, right? Purvavarna will be
So A plus U.
O will become O.
Uttama plus Uttamam, Uttamottamam. Artha kaha?
Uttamom, best, I think. Best of the best. Best of the best.
Satya. Kalpana Mahoday.
Arunodayah. Aruna plus Udayah. Purvavarnah akarah. Paravarnah Udayah. Arunodayah. Rising sun.
Sunrise. Sumitra Mahoday.
Madevah.
Mateva.
Oh, Mateva. Okay, Mateva will be Mata plus Eva. Mata plus Eva plus Purnavarva will be Akarah. Paravarna will be.
What is
Mata? Will be Mata. Mata plus Eva.
So what is Purvavarna?
Akarah.
Akara. Dirgha.
Yeah. And Paravarna will be Ikarah. So they when Adeshaha A bhavati. So atah Mateva.
Uttama. So what is the meaning? Artha kaha?
Mata is mother and Eva will be she or like that.
Like similar to
Similar, like mother.
So we are talking about somebody who's like a mother. Mata, Iva, Mateva. So here this is a good example of when you encounter a word and you are asked to do Sandhi Cheda. So look for where the Sandhi might happen. So Akarasti, we may think it is a Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. Ma plus Ateva. Then you have to figure out, is Ateva is a word? Probably not. Then look for Te, Ekarasti. Is there a possibility of Sandhi? Then when does Ekara happen? a plus e. So then do trial and error. Mata plus iva, mata plus eva. Try it. If it's a very unknown word, completely unknown word. So with practice it will come. But if you are in doubt, try the different combinations and it will.
Mahodaya, I have a question. Like if I am taking Arunodayaha, so Aruna plus Udayaha, right? So can you not like this example? If there can be something like Aruna plus Udayaha?
It can be possible. It can be possible.
So how to find out like whether it is Rasva or Bija?
So that comes from practice and from reading. That's the only way. So let's look at Aruna. Name of son. Aruna Shiva. Raya, it may be there also. Aruna plus Udayaha. If Aruna is a word, Aruna is a word. It's a type of a tree, a birch tree. So the rising of Udaya is rising. So rising of a tree, is that possible? Maybe. It depends on the context. Maybe when it is sprouting from the ground, can we say it is rising from the ground? Maybe. It depends on the context.
So just by practice only we get it.
Just by practice. Because as we saw, Aruna is correct. Aruna plus Udayaha is correct. Aruna plus Udayaha is also correct. Both are possible. It's only from practice. And because we are Bharatiyas, we have encountered the word Arunodaya very, very often. Of course, your question pertains to if it's a new word that we never encountered. So it comes from practice. Narayanan Mahodaya. Narayanan Mahodaya अस्ति वा?
Mहोदय.
करोतु महोदय.
लंबोदरम लंब पूर्वपदम लंब.
Wait. Purva padam or varna?
No, purva padam is lamba. Purva varna is akara.
Okay. Let's.
और परपदम उदरम. आकार plus ukara okara.
What is the paravarna?
Paravarna is akara. Lamba. Dirga bhavati. Lamba.
Raya.
Lamba. Purvavarnam udaram.
You are saying the opposite. Purvavarna is akara. Paravarna. Purva first, para is later. Paravarna is ukara. So when we are doing Sanjeev, let's not talk about pada. Let's only talk about varna, because only varna can take part in Sanjeev, not pada. So a plus u o. Artha kaha lambodaram.
Udaram is stomach, big stomach.
Lamba is big. Again. So again the question comes whether it is lamba or lamba. So I know it is lamba or hrasva, but is there a lamba also? I do not know. But lamba hrasva means big. Lamba api asti. Lamba ityasya artha cucumber, bitter gourd, bribe. Those don't make sense. Bribe stomach, bitter gourd stomach, those don't make sense. Again, because we know the context of what the Lambodara word means. It will be hrasva. So who's Lambodara?
Ganesha, Ganapati.
Ah.
So, Mahoday, the reason I said Purva Padam is because that Padam has to make sense. You can't just break it just like that.
Satyam, Satyam. The reason I'm pointing it out is many people think Sandhi means combination of words, and that is why I'm trying to make a distinction. It is not a combination of words, it's a combination of letters. That's all. What you said is also correct. Chaitra Mahoday.
Is it Lamba Udaram Yasya Saha Ganesha?
Lamba Udaram Yasya Saha Lambodaraha. Satyam, Satyam. That is the Samasa Vigraha Vakya for those that are trying to make sense of what Mudha Mahoday said. Chaitra Mahoday.
Astu Mahodaya. Cheti. Cha. So Akara Purva Varnaha Asti. Ti I Paravarnaha Asti. Ataha A plus E. O plus no Cheti. O plus E A so Cheti. So Cha plus Iti. Kshamyatam Mahodaya.
Cha plus iti. So
Cha plus Iti. Cha plus Iti.
Arthaha kaha.
Cha ityukte and one of the meaning. Iti means again like within quotes, right?
So again, this is most likely a fragment of a sentence. Vane Ramaha Lakshmanaha Ramaha kaha asti Ramaha Lakshmanaha cha iti somebody uktavan, whatever. So it is a fragment of it.
Mahodaya, here could cha also mean but, B-U-T?
Prayaha. Cha has a lot of meaning. And asti, but asti, and it is many times in shlokas, you will also see it as a filler word. So if you analyze, if you do the analysis of the shloka, if you do pratipadartha and all that, sometimes you will see that the word cha is left out. It doesn't fit anywhere because you are not doing an and of two things or three things. You don't. It doesn't really fit into any context. So because of alankara and chandas, sometimes they use cha as a filler. It doesn't mean anything. The Kavi had to use some letter that satisfies some of the alankara chandas rules, and that is why he uses cha. Rita Mahoday.
Mahonnatihi. Maha Paravarnah Akarah Purvavarnah Akarah Paravarnah Ukarah. When they join, they become O plus O, and hence it becomes Maha plus Unnatihi, Mahonnatihi.
Arthaha kaha.
Unnati. Great progress.
Dhanyavadah. Gayatri Mahoday.
Maha Maharnam.
So Right. So when you are saying the word, you have the clue right there. Maharnam, ar.
Ar. So Maha plus Runam.
Uttamam. Maharunam, Maharnam. Arthaha?
Paravarna, Purvarna.
No, no. What is the meaning? You did it correctly. What is the meaning?
What's the meaning? Runam is wound.
No, no. Runam is debt.
What is that, Mahodaya?
Debt, what we owe to somebody else.
Obligation.
Obligation.
Great.
Dhanyavada. Sundari Mahodaya.
Mahodaya.
Able to see the.
You're not able to see the screen.
I have some issue, I think.
Can you see? Can you all see my screen now?
We can see.
Sundari Mahodaya will come back to you then, if you cannot see it. Harsha Mahodaya.
Mahodaya. Yatheshtam. So it's yatha plus ishtam. So purva varna akara, para varna ikara. So ekara adeshah bhavati. It's ekadashe ekadeshah. So yatheshtam. Yatha plus ishtam. Yatha means appropriate. Ishtam means good.
Ishtam means liking. Yatha ishtam, as you like, as somebody likes. Okay. Same as yathecha, yatha icha. Should I do it this way or that way? Then the other person will say yathecham karotu, yathecham karotu. Means do it as you like, do it as you like.
Dhanyavad.
Mahodaya.
Maharnam can be Maharnam, right? Maharna, it will be replaced by R. Maha plus Rinam. Akara plus Rikara, it will be replaced by R, no? So, how do you get Maharnam?
Is this correct so far?
Yes.
So what will this be? A plus Rikara.
That will be R, no?
R.
So it has to be Maharnam.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Maharnam. I see.
Which is the correct form? Maharnam sounds correct.
Maharnam. Typo. Praya typo. Dhanyavada. I'll fix it. Good catch.
Thank you, ma'am.
Viraj Mahodaya.
Astu Mahodaya. Padonam. Pada unam. So Purva Varnaha Akaraha.
Akara.
Pada. Akara Usva Purva Varna. Paravarnam Ukaraha. Ekaraha bhavati. Then Guna Sandhihi Padonam.
So what is the meaning?
Unam is something like something happened to the leg. Una is something lost, right?
Padona Ashtavadana. What does Padona Ashtavadana mean?
That is Una is 15 minutes less than.
Less by, not less than, less by.
Less by, yes. Kala.
So Padonam means less by Pada. Pada is 15.
Yeah. But other word is Pada is legs also, right? Pada.
Pada has lot of meaning. Less by a leg, can we say less by a leg? Prayaha. Maybe if a Kavi wants to describe somebody who has only one leg, maybe he can say Padona, less by one leg. It is possible. Uttama. Antimam, Meera Mahoday.
Vasanta plus Vasantartuhu. Vasanta plus Rutuhu.
Vasanta plus Rutuhu. Vasantartuhu.
So Akara plus Rkara, Arkara.
So whenever you have ar in a word, that is usually an indication, a clue that there is a guna sandhi happening. So that is all there is to know about guna sandhi, or at least at this level. Very straightforward. Any questions? Any doubts?
Manu Mahadaya, you mentioned that Sukha Dukkham, right? So is that like what kind of a sandhi? Is like Sukham plus Dukkham, or?
There is no sandhi. I just mentioned Shitoshnam is a pair of words that is similar to Sukha Dukkham, not in the context of sandhi, but just pairs of words that come together. That's all. That's the concept.
So when we use them together, there is no particular sandhi formation there.
Sandhi is not happening there. Sukha plus Sukha, Sukha Dukha. We are not. There is no Varna Vikaram there. So there is no sandhi.
Astu.
So there is one more topic, Kavya Katha. So in your Parichaya for the exam, there is a Kavya Katha. We have to, I think in all the 10 lessons, there is one segment of the Katha that is given, and there are questions based on each segment. When we took the exam, the way it was we had to memorize the questions and the answers. So normally in some other exams, what happens is they'll give you a paragraph and ask you questions on that. That is a good way of testing your reading comprehension. But in the Parichaya exam, they do it differently. They expect you to remember the questions and the context in which the question was asked, and also the response to that. So the Katha by itself is easy. Even the questions are easy, just remembering what was the context in which the question was asked for the exam. So this is one of the components of the exam. So in Sanskritam, Kavya, we say Kavya in our languages, normally in Telugu or Hindi or Kannada. Kavya, we generally talk about it as a poem. But in Sanskritam, Kavyam means a piece of work. It's not necessarily only a Padyam. It can be Gadyam. Gadyam means prose. Padyam is poetry.
Shamyata Mahodaya.
So in Sanskritam, Gadyam, Padyam and Champu, all of them come under the general category of Kavya. And under Padyam, we have Mahakavyam, Khanda Kavyam and Mukta Kavyam. These are given in the Pravesha book actually, not in the Parichaya book. So if you look at your Pravesha book, you'll find this categorization. So Mahakavya, in Sanskritam, there are 5 Mahakavya, Pancha Mahakavya. What are they? Raghuvamsham, Kumarasambhavam, Irakarjuniyam, Shishupalavadha, and Naishadhiya Charitam. So Raghuvamsham and Kumarasambhavam are by Kalidasa. Irakarjuniyam is by Bharavi. Shishupalavadha is by Madha. Naishadhiya Charitam is by somebody called Sri Harsha. So again, in Sanskritam, when we start reading the literature, we come across the name Magha many times. So Shishupala Vadha is one of his compositions that form Pancha Mahakavyas, but is also known for Meghadutam. Has anybody heard of Meghadutam?
Ravana son, Indrajit. Indrajit, Ravana son, Meghaduta.
That is different. This is different. This is about Megha. This is about the story of a yaksha who gets separated from his wife, and so back in those days there was no SMS or signal or WhatsApp or telephone. So imagine the poet. He says the way the husband communicates with the wife is through the clouds, through the megha. So he talks to the cloud and says, "I miss my wife. Please convey my message." And he goes into describing how to find his wife. She lives in such and such a town, the description of the town. She looks like this. So he gives a description of the town and the directions. So Google Maps, photo, description of her photo, sarvam attached krutva. He says to the cloud, "Anyway, you are going to pass through the town where my wife lives. So convey my badha to her." So that is a very, very beautiful work. It's not very long also. We all should be able to read it. I think at some point I would highly recommend all of you to read it. Very beautiful, very, very beautiful. So Raghuvansham and Kumara Sambhavam are by Kalidasa. Kalidasa, we have heard his name many, many times. So Raghuvansham is what we are going to study for Parichaya. Not the actual Raghuvansham itself, but a summarization in Sarala Sanskritam in 10 lessons, 10 parts. So the actual Raghuvansham, to read it in Kalidasa's words, we still need to study some more concepts. But to give us an introduction to all these Mahakavyas, they are introducing Raghuvansham this year. Shishupala Vadha and Kiratarjuniyam, we will study it in next year, Malati class. And Kumara Sambhavam, we will study it in Kamala. Again, we are not going to study the original work. We are going to study a summarization of these in Sarala Sanskritam. So in 10 parts, what we are going to do is we are going to study Raghuvansha. So Raghuvansha, it is the Vamsha of Raghu. Raghu is some great king in the Ikshvaku dynasty. He is an ancestor of Sri Rama. So everybody in the Raghuvansha up until Kusha and Lava, they are great kings. There is a great amount of description of how each king ruled, how his people were under his rule, etc. So this Raghuvansham talks about several of those kings, their rule, their qualities, how people were treated, how the people felt towards the king, and stories related to so that is basically a very, very high level summary of Raghuvansha. So in Parichaya, we are going to study about these kings: Dilipa, Raghu, Aja, Dasharatha, and Rama. 5 of them. But Raghuvansham itself talks about many other things in the Ikshvaku dynasty. So I think we are up at our time. So with that introduction, let's stop here for today. Next time, we will look at some stories about Dilipaha. So we will start there. Any doubts or any questions about what we studied today? So if there is nothing else, Harsha Mahave, Krupaya Mangala Shlokam Karotu. We will stop here after Mangala Shlokam.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Namo Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद.
धन्यवादः महोदय.